Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Miranda, and I'm the Enchantress of Avalon. As this week's video is going up right before Beltane, I've decided I wanted to speak about two Celtic goddesses that are very associated with May Day and with the May Queen energy. Specifically, I chose two goddesses from the Mabinogion. So I'm going to talk about Rhiannon and Blodeuwedd. So, the May Queen in general is this archetypal energy of sexuality, sovereignty, fertility, and in many ways, the sovereignty goddess who is the lands made manifest, and the goddess who is granting the right to rule to the king. And we see this in both the story of Rhiannon and the story of Blodeuwedd. In the case of Rhiannon, she is coming forth from the other world and is presenting herself to the man who will be her husband. And I believe the actual Welsh pronunciation is Pwll. I have in the past called him Pool, but I think it's Pwll is the correct pronunciation. I am still learning Welsh, so I'm hoping my pronunciation is getting better over time. In any case, she comes forth from the other world and is riding on her white mare, her sacred totem animal, along with her birds, but we'll get into that. And she is appearing to him, but she is just trotting along on her horse, and he sends his riders on his fastest horses to go and catch up to her, and they cannot. And this happens for a few days. Then finally, Pwll himself decides, okay, I'm gonna get on a horse and I'm going to chase her down. And then the supernatural element is that she is just at a very, very slow and steady trot. And Pwll and his men were just really galloping along, trying to catch up with her and can't, because time moves differently in the other world. And Rhiannon comes from the other world. Finally, Pwll just says to her, on behalf of the man you love most, please stop, my lady. And she immediately stops, turns to him and says, well, you would have saved your horse a lot of strife if you would have just asked me to stop in the beginning. Like, so she's a little sassy with him in the beginning. And she explains her situation. She is betrothed to a man that she does not love and does not want to marry. And she has fallen in love with him and is choosing to marry and wants to marry him instead. And of course, he is completely beguiled by her. And of course, he wants to marry her. And through a series of circumstances and challenges, eventually they do get married. But Pwll has to screw up a couple times before the wedding takes place. But her marriage to Pwll is what is truly cementing his right to rule his lands. Because Rhiannon is a goddess of sovereignty, a goddess of the land made manifest. And her association with horses proves her sovereignty nature, because horses are so important in ancient cultures in general, but especially in Welsh culture, in Welsh and Celtic cultures. Of horses are needed to do pretty much anything, and it's the only way to travel. It's the only way to network, and they are a very powerful animal. So the white mare, in the case of Rhiannon, is a signal of her nature as a sovereignty goddess. And I did mention she does have 3 birds, and these birds also prove her connection to the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, because the Adar Rhiannon, the birds of Rhiannon, are known to be able to lull the living to sleep and raise the dead with their song. So she is a very powerful figure. And yes, she does embrace this flower bride and May Queen energy of, in the beginning of her tale, being this youthful goddess who is bestowing the sovereignty of the land and the blessings of sexuality, the blessings of fertility upon this king. He is a prince originally, becomes a king. Of course, hers is also one of trial and tribulation, as all goddesses do have in their stories. And in her case, when she finally does give birth to a child, her nurses, the maids who are supposed to be tending to this child, all fall asleep while on duty and then accuse Rhiannon of one of the most despicable crimes they can, of infanticide. And she has to endure unjust punishment until her son is brought back to her. But she does take this unjust punishment with grace. And she is such a powerful energy to call upon when you are going through times of struggle yourself. And even just reading her story of her ability to endure is absolutely mind-bogglingly beautiful. And certainly this endurance that she has is linked to that connection with the horse as an animal of great endurance. So she has a much heavier side to her May Queen aspect than Blodeuwedd does. Blodeuwedd's May Queen aspect is that she is literally a flower bride in the most obvious sense. She was called forth from the other world and made in physical form out of flowers by the magicians Math and Gideon. And this was because of a destiny placed by Erenrod on her son. I believe it's actually pronounced Clucloc, I guess. Again, I'm still learning how to pronounce those double L's in Welsh. And he was not to have an earthly bride, a bride of the race of the women of the earth. So she is called forth and made of flowers. And she was literally made to be his bride. And she is that ideal May Queen. She was literally made of oak, hawthorn, of oak, ash, and thorn. No, wait, sorry. What am I saying? Wow, that was incorrect. She is oak, broom, and meadowsweet are the three blooms always in her creation. Sometimes 9 are also listed in her creation, but it's always the flowers of oak, broom, and meadowsweet. I'm sorry for my incorrect phrase there for a moment. She is this absolutely sweet-scented, flowery goddess who is very much happy in the very early stages of her marriage. But that deteriorates quickly as Clu does what many, many male figures in these myths, even though she is what has granted his true sovereignty, his true right to rule, he does not respect her, and that disrespect leads to him losing the sovereignty of the land, in a sense. And she falls in love with another man, a neighboring lord named Granu Pabir, and they plot the death of Clu together, which seems a bit extreme, but Blodeuwedd was never given her just baseline sovereignty that she should have had, which is, in Celtic culture, women had to at least approve the match, had to at least approve of their husband. She was never given a choice. She was literally made from flowers to be his bride. And when she does take a choice, she chooses to follow her heart and follow her true love. And to me, that's where her story gets dark, when she's going from the May Queen to the owl. Because after attempting to kill Clwch Blodeuwedd and Grani do rule the lands for a time together, but when Clw is returned to health, Grani is killed and Blodeuwedd is transformed into an owl. And her owl aspect is the fierce and intense side of things, but her May Queen aspect is the softer side. She is the beauty, fertility, and abundance of the land in all of those blossoming flowers around us to enchant us at this time of year. And together, I think Rhiannon and Blodeuwedd truly do exemplify the Celtic May Queen energy very beautifully. Now, I do hope you've enjoyed this video and the short exploration of the May Queen side of both Rhiannon and Blodeuwedd. If you have enjoyed the video, please do like, comment, subscribe, and even check out my blog, rightroseofavalon.life, for more content. As always, I'll link some blog posts in the description box below, and my Discord server is always linked down there if you want to join and discuss all things magical, mystical, and shadowy with the people on my server. And I do also offer tarot and oracle card reading services through my website, and that's also linked down there. So I hope everyone has a very beautiful Beltane. Bye now.